Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and welcome to the 14th episode of my Rails of Industry Minecraft series. In today's episode, I hope to get some resource or a few resources over to a new area, which I'm going to use for ore processing and for energy generation as well. And then I hope to build an extreme reactor to generate a little bit of power. It's not going to be a big reactor, but it is going to generate a good amount of power. And so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to build some stuff from Railcraft so that I can get resources over to the new area. So let's take a look at what we need. First off, I want to build a locomotive, and I want to build just the steam locomotive rather than the electric locomotive. I will definitely build some electric locomotives later on in the series, but for right now I'm going to stick with steam. Okay, so the recipe looks to be fairly simple. So let's go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some patterns. I don't have any auto crafting right now, but in the near future I would definitely like to do that. So I'm going to start making a bunch of patterns as I have the resources to make the patterns right now, so might as well make them. So let's see here. What else do I need? Iron plates. I kind of think I have some iron plates laying around. Okay, why is this? Okay, so I might have to do the iron plates or the iron plate recipes outside of that, but that's not a problem as it is a 2x2 recipe. Okay, so that just like ate my inventory. Not really sure why. Okay, so that's really weird. It ate everything that's I ate my wood and my okay, cool. I'm kind of hoping that relogging in will fix that, but whatever. Let's move on. So I have the tank walls. Let's take a look at the locomotive. Okay, so next we need some iron bars. Iron bars are really easy. Let's go ahead and make those. Let's also throw this pattern up here. This is where I'm keeping my patterns for right now, so that they're in one nice place. So let's throw those in there, and then I need some of these blast furnace bricks. They don't look to be too complicated. It's soul sand and some nether bricks. I'm not sure that I have enough nether bricks. Actually, I might have just enough. It looks like I have just enough. So if we look at the locomotive again. Yeah, I do. I have enough. Cool. Okay, so what am I missing? I know I have, okay, so the nether bricks, I didn't put them in there. So there we go, there's that, and I think we should have everything we need except we actually have that too. I think it would just be minecart. Okay, oh, when it ate my inventory, I think that's where those were. So hopefully it will allow me to craft this thing. Okay, there we go. Also, I do want to set this pattern as well. So let's get rid of these. And what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to log out and log back in. And hopefully I get my inventory back, because that's kind of weird that it just disappeared. So I will be back in just a second. So I re-logged in and my inventory still didn't come back. So what I lost is some wood, a lumber axe, which is the thing I'm kind of sad about, and then some buckets. The wood and the buckets aren't really a problem, so let's grab those back. In the future I will have to remake my lumber axe, but that should not be a problem. I am definitely sad about the lumber axe though, because that's kind of a pain that I'm going to have to remake that. So I need to keep that in mind from now on whenever I use the additional recipes, not in a crafting table, because I don't think I ever had that problem before, because I've used that before to make those iron tank walls and I didn't have that happen. So for whatever reason it decided to eat my inventory there, but whatever, we're gonna move on. So the next thing I want to make is I need to make some item loaders and unloaders, and I'm gonna need to make some shovels here from Railcraft. So I need some sticks, and I'm gonna need some steel. So actually I need half a stack there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and let's see if it does the same thing again. If it does, I'm going to be okay. So it didn't do it over here, so that's good to know. We're gonna throw all these these shovels in here. And we're going to grab this and make a few more of the shovels. Cool. And then let's see, what else do we need? We need the item loaders and unloaders. So I actually already have them. So I made a couple earlier, and I didn't realize this, but that's good to know. I have those with me, so I will need one of each, just for right now. In the future, I will actually need more for the line I'm about to set up. Let's go ahead and make some chest carts as well. So chest cart is really easy to make. You just need a chest and a mine cart. Okay. Actually, there's a pretty simple way to do this as well. You can do this, and that will work fine. So let's get 2 of those for right now. In fact, I'm not going to use 2 of them. I'm just going to use 1 of them. So let's throw that in there. In the future, I will definitely use more. But for right now, 1 will be more than enough. So let's go ahead and what else? I need a crowbar. So I actually have a crowbar. It's right here. So let's grab that. And then I need to make a locking track. And I believe this is the kind of track I need. So let's go ahead and get a locking track kit. And that looks to be fairly easy to make here. So we need pressure plates, I think. So let's grab a few of those. And then a sticky piston. I should have some magma slime, so that means I can make some slime real fast in my centrifugal separator. And that's right here. That'll make me some slime. And actually, let's X this out because it's quicker if I just grab this. Just doing that. And then let's see here. There we go. Let's grab one. And then let's look up our locking track again. And there we go. So I should only need 2 of those. So let's get those. Let's see. Stops and holds carts. Okay, so that should work. It's been a while since I've played with Railcraft trains and making proper trains. So I think this will work. I'm not 100% sure though. So I have the loader, I have the unloader. I need a way to get water into the locomotive. So what we're going to do, and actually I'm going to need another loader. I'm just thinking about this now. Because I need 1 loader to load coal into the locomotive or some sort of fuel, and then I need another loader that will load the fuel into the chest cart for my reactor that I'm going to be building. So let's go ahead and make another loader real fast. So the item loader, pretty easy to make. Let's get a hopper, and let's store that recipe as well. And then we need a cart detector. Might as well store that recipe. And there we go, item loader. And then the advanced item loader. And there we go. Actually, there we go. So let's get rid of all these. And then I need a way to get water into the locomotive because it needs water and some sort of solid fuel to make steam. It is a steam locomotive after all. So let's get a fluid loader. So what am I missing here? I need another hopper. Let's just make a bunch of these things. And then a cart detector here, which, there we go. And then fluid loader, boom. And then I need a water source for that fluid loader. So let's go ahead and throw these in here. So let's get a water source here. And I do like the NuclearCraft water source, so that's what I'm going to use. Let's grab these. I'm not sure if I've already made that pattern or not, so I'm not going to do it again. So there's my water source. I should be able to place it right beside the fluid loader, and it should load it up with water. So that should be good. Okay, so I think that's all that I need for the Railcraft portion of the build. The next portion of the build will be the reactor itself. and so I need to build a lot of stuff for that. So let's take a look at the mod Extreme Reactors. This is a really cool mod that I always enjoy playing with. And the things that we'll need are some graphite. I have made a lot of graphite in between episodes. It's pretty easy to make. You just throw coal in a furnace, and that is the recipe there. And first off, I need a lot of these reactor casings. Let's take a look at how much gold I have. I definitely could use some more gold, but that is actually not a problem. What we can do is we can grab this pulverized gold that I made earlier and throw it in the furnaces, and that'll get me some gold. So if we just throw the gold in this chest here, it should go into these 2 redstone furnaces on either side and start smelting up. So that is cool. Okay, so back to the Extreme Reactors. And let's take a look. The reactor casing is kind of the main component of your reactors. It's used in a lot of the other crafting recipes, so it's the first thing we need to build. And the reactor casing needs this reactor casing cores. So let's build a bunch of these. Let's go ahead and set the recipe. And let's go ahead and build, I'm thinking a whole stack. I think that'll be good. Actually, let's do a stack and a half. And if I both right click and left click, I can get more items. There we go. So there's a stack and a half of this. Let's go ahead and make 4 stacks of this. I think that'll be overkill, but that's not a problem as these are actually used in the crafting of the other recipes as well. Okay, so there we go. That is perfect. Okay, so next let's build the reactor glass, and the reactor glass is completely unnecessary. This is just something I want to build to make it look good. And actually, I didn't set that recipe, and I should have. So let's go back, let's find the reactor glass again, and let's go ahead and make a stack and a half of this. So this is just kind of slow right now, but in the future I will have this automated. And that's why we're setting the patterns. Okay, so there we go, stack and a half. And then the reactor controller, let's do that next. That requires refined uranium, diamond, all stuff I have. So there we go, we only need 1 of those. Let's do a power tap. And the power tap's really easy to make, just some redstone along with the reactor casing. And then let's see, what else do we need? We need 2 control rods, which are these guys right here. So let's grab a couple of those. And then we will need some fuel rods here. And the reactor I'm going to build, I think I'm going to use 14 of these. So let's grab 14. There we go. Let's see. We need access ports. And the access ports are used for getting items automatically in and out of the reactor. So let's do that next. And actually, I need to get rid of these patterns. So let's get rid of those. And then we should be able to grab 2 of the reactor access ports. Okay, let's see here. I have a list of things that I need, and I'm going through and I'm making sure that I have everything. I need a bucket of ender and some manulin blocks. So I made up a bunch of manulin in between. Actually, no, I didn't. I made a bunch of cobalt and I made a bunch of ardite, and I haven't made the manulin. So how I did the cobalt and ardite is I clearly have a lot of the ores, and so I processed them in my induction smelter with cinnabar so that I was able to actually get 3 ardite and 3 cobalt for each cinnabar. And so what I need to do now is I need to throw these in the induction smelters. So to get this started, we will throw a stack of ardite and a stack of cobalt in each induction smelter, and then what I'm going to do is throw a stack of cobalt and ardite in this chest here in the middle. And as the buffers get used, it will actually pull more items in. So this should work fine, and we should get a lot of manulin out of it. And I'm actually going to make those into blocks, and that's because Extreme Reactors has a kind of complicated means as to calculating how much power is generated by the reactor. But basically, you can place a bunch of different types of blocks in the internal of the reactor, and it affects how much energy and heat you generate. Manulin tends to be a fairly good block for the reactors, so I'm going to use those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wait for that to craft up all of the manulin. And what I'm going to do once the manulin gets done is I'm going to make it into a bunch of blocks here. and we're going to use those blocks in the reactor. So right now I'm just going to wait, and once a bunch of that manual linen is done, I will be back. So the manual linen is actually taking a really long time to smelt up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build everything out, and then I'm going to add the manual linen blocks last. So the next thing I actually need to do is I need to get that bucket of ender that I never grabbed. So the recipe for the bucket of ender is pretty simple. All we need is some resonant endstones, which I have, and then some buckets. Each of these resonant endstones will actually make an entire bucket of resonant ender. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of the buckets just because. And what I've done in between episodes is I did change how I have the magma crucible and the fluid transposer set up. I have them kind of rotated to the side, and what we have with the magma crucible, it's facing the same way as the centrifugal separator here. It will automatically input from this chest right here, so if I throw in the resonant endstone, it will pull it into the magma crucible, and then it will smelt that up. If I throw in buckets into this right here, this fluid transposer is actually set up to where it's facing the opposite way of this centrifugal separator. So if it was over here, the face would be facing me. So it pulled those buckets in, and it should have made those into buckets of resonant ender. So let's see if we have that. Actually, it probably takes a few seconds to get into the ME system here, but it should be showing up anytime now. And then once I have that, I can start my work. So let's see here. The first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to set down the locking track and the advanced item loader. And actually, I need both of these guys and the locomotive. What I'm going to do, there's one of the buckets, so there we go. And then what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run this on coal coke. And that's not going to be something I can actually run it on constantly, as I don't produce coal coke over here. But for right now, it should do fine. And let's see here. I also need some fuel for the reactor, and I don't have that automated yet, but the reactor should last a long time on this first batch of fuel that we're going to provide it, so that should be okay. In the future, I can actually set up the automatic loading and unloading, but I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to kind of set up the base Railcraft infrastructure for that. And then in the future, all I have to do is set up some buses. Okay, so I have this line which goes to a new area, and let me pull up journey maps here. Let's set it today. I have this line that runs underground to this area over here, which I'm going to use for energy generation and for ore processing. This will kind of be my hub base here. This will be energy generation and ore processing. So what I'm going to do is, I already have the rail line ran underground. I'm going to set up things for right here. So first off, let's set up a locking track right here, and then we can do an advanced item loader here and here. So what this is going to do, let's set this up. Let's use these filters that it provides. So right here, we're going to say only load the cart, and we're going to give you a buffer of these guys. And once it's complete, it should give a redstone signal and allow that train to pass. And what we're going to do up above the track is, actually, I should be able to put this right here. And then this will be to load the locomotive rather, with water. And what I should be able to do is put this water on top, and it should automatically input into the tank here. So that looks like it's working, which is fantastic. The next thing I need to do is, this will be used for loading the items into the chest cart here. And for right now, we'll tell it that, actually, let's filter this. Wait, how did I do the entire stack in night? Whoa. Okay, whatever. I don't know why that was behaving weirdly, but let's filter it and say it can only input coal coke and refined uranium into the chest cart, because that's what this is going to be for. So let's go ahead and actually place these guys down. Let's place that down there, and I actually want it to be facing the other way. So let's hit that. So it is facing this way. Right now, let's go ahead and set it to idle. What it needs to do is it needs to heat up right here, and until it hits 100 degrees Celsius, it will not be able to move. So let's hit it to idle. It is running. It does need to be powered up. Let's go ahead and throw our refined uranium and coal coke into here. And actually, I am having second thoughts about how I have this set up. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so that it can run now. It should be able to run. I don't know why it's not running. Okay, so I actually wanted to back that up, and that's because I want to change where I have this locking track. Let's actually get this crowbar. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to set the locking track here, because what should happen is the locomotive itself should fill up quicker than the cart. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set locking tracks on both of these, and I want to see something here. So let's grab a button. Okay, so that's good. That's basically when this receives a redstone signal, it will not transmit it to the track next to it, and that is different than let's say some of the other tracks. Let me see here. The booster track, for example, it will slide the redstone signal along, so you can have multiple booster tracks beside one redstone signal point. So this is good. This is what I want to see. So what should happen when I set this down and I link these guys up? Link started. Okay, link created. Okay, so what I want to do is let's grab some of this coal coke and let's throw it in here. And I don't know why I did that. This needs to not be here. This needs to be just uranium. I don't know why I did that. So there we go. And yeah, that'll be fine. And then let's set this up to be coal coke. Let's throw that in there. What should happen is that this should stop, and the locomotive should not stop here because I have this cart set here. It should stop right here. So let's see if that's the case. Nope. Oh, okay, so I just had to click the R again. So let's set that up, and let's see if it'll stop in the proper spot. Okay, cool. Looks like it's going to. Fantastic, and it looks like that's going to work. So now what I need to do is let's go ahead and run ahead and get ahead of this thing, because I need to set up stuff at the other end of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run along this tunnel until I get to my new area, and I will be back when I'm there. So here comes my locomotive, and I actually need to stop this, so let's shut it down. And I actually tabbed that a little bit late. What I want to do is I want to back this thing up, so let's go ahead and set it to running real fast, and then let's have it idle. I don't want it to go back down the slope. Actually, I need to have it just go a little bit more. Don't go down the slope, buddy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and set up an advanced item unloader. And what I need to do is let's set it up. Actually, let's set it up over here. So let's actually, I want to rotate that around. That's my bad. Okay, so it just really prefers that track right there. And that is not what I want. So let's just go ahead and put it right there. Actually, no. Because the train may get long. I don't know where to put this. So let's just put it here for right now. This will work. So we do need to have it sorted out here. So I don't want it to stop the other, or the locomotive rather. And I totally forgot to grab another of the locking track. So what I need to do, and I don't think I'm going to do this right now, but I just need to add a locking track right here. I'm not going to run back and get one because that'll take a while. So what we're going to do is we are going to sort this so that it will only pull uranium out. And once the process is complete, we'll give a redstone signal and unlock the track and allow the train to pass on. So for right now, it's just not going to be fully functional yet, but all I need to do is add the locking track and then it will be. So what we're going to do here is I actually need to get items to this building over here, and I think I'm just going to use some item duct and servo, which I did grab to get the items over here. I am going to build the reactor in the basement of this building, which is rather large. Okay, so let's get started. For right now, let's do a little bit of digging. And I don't have stone to make this look nice or anything, but for right now, let's just dig this down. And actually, I should not have even done that because I have a tunnel underneath my road over here. And we should pop out right about there. And then let's just continue onward, and then we should be in the basement over here. So let's set up the reactor real fast. And let's put it over here, whatever. And actually, I want to set it in the ground. So the reactor is going to be 5 by 5 at its base. So let's just do that, and then that's pretty easy. There we go. And there's the base. I do want it to be 7 tall, so 7 interior tall. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. That should be perfect. And actually, that'll present another design problem, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so let's... Can I not count? I can't count. That's okay, though. Okay, so to make an extreme reactor, the shell needs to be all of the reactor casing. So I'm doing the outer shell right now. I do need to go ahead and get rid of these blocks here, because if you have blocks where they shouldn't be, the reactor will not form up. So let's go ahead and put the controller over here. Since the items will be coming from over there, let's put our in and out ports over here. So we'll do this one be the outlet. For right now, it has nowhere to go, but that's not a problem. This reactor will not burn fuel very quickly. What I'm going to do with the control rods is I'm actually going to place them. I'm going to place them down here. And actually, I made this reactor a little bit smaller than I intended, but that's okay. It's not like this reactor will be used for a whole lot. It'll be kind of my getting started reactor. Okay, so there's that fuel rod, and then this fuel rod. To make a fuel rod, what you need to do is at an end of the reactor, you need the control rod, and then your fuel rod needs to span the length of the reactor. And to change the power output of the reactor, you need to be able to access the control rods, and that's kind of the flaw in the design I used here, is that I don't have a really good way to get down to those the control rods. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dig out a little area real fast so that I do have access to them. And what I'll do later is I'll probably add an elevator so that I can get down here and not have a hole in the ground. But for right now, this will work fine. Okay, so there's kind of the base of the reactor. We need a way to get power out. So once again, let's put this... Actually, let's find where... Let's go ahead and... Okay, so which... Okay, so that way is where my main base is. Eventually, I'm going to run power all the way to my main base. So let's put the tap up there. And then let's go ahead and finish out what we can of the reactor. The resonant end will be poured from this block space right here. And actually, I probably shouldn't have done that because Manuelin actually doesn't seem that hard to mine right now. But in the past, it has taken a long time to mine, so... Okay, so I probably should have brought a builder's wand to make this a little bit quicker. That's not... It's not too big of a reactor, so it's not really a problem. Okay, so basically all I need to do now is fill out the rest of this reactor with the reactor glass here. And not put reactor glass there. So let's get rid of that before I forget and then freak out when my reactor doesn't form up like it should. Okay, so that's much easier if I do it like that. Okay, so that's just about everything here. Okay, so as you saw, it changed textures, which means the reactor is formed like it should be. What I do need to do is I need to go up and I do need to pour that bucket of Ender. So let's just do a little guessing here. Okay, so we are 1 over. So the bucket of Ender needs to be poured right here. And let's do that. And then we need to replace the blocks I got rid of. And I don't know where that other block went. Shoot. Oh, duh. My control rods are at the bottom, not at the top. That's just a regular block. And I need to patch that up, but I don't have any stone with me, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. So, I actually should have probably done this before I released the Ender. I want to place my manual blocks, and I want to place them beside the rods. So the thing about Resonant Ender is that it likes to teleport things that it touches. So that's kind of what I want to avoid doing. So clearly I don't have enough manual blocks with me. Let's make this quick. But I can go ahead and just place what I have, and there we go. Let's reform this thing, and let's kick this thing on. It doesn't have fuel. Well, that's dumb of me. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to get the fuel in. So we need to run this item duct that I have from the unloader over here to the inlet here. So we just need to do this. Can I get out here? I can. And I need a servo on that. Derp to derp. And we need that to be always on. Let's go ahead and test this out. I can actually test this without the locking track here if I stop the locomotive manually. So let's go ahead and not have it in reverse. And let's see if we can get this stopped perfectly. Don't go down. Don't fall. Okay, so it's working. That's cool. Let's see if the reactor is actually receiving that uranium. So it might take a little while. I am using regular item duct. In the future, I will be using impulse item duct, which just makes items travel through them a little bit faster. But for right now, I'm not too concerned about it. Let's see. I believe in you, uranium. Okay, there it is. As you may have been able to see, the fuel rod is filling up. This does make quite a bit of power. The thing is, the reactors at 100% are not very efficient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune this down to, let's say, 80%, because that seems to be a fairly efficient range. And the thing is, even at having the control rod at 80%, which means your reactor output is at 20%. Even at that, I'm still producing 1.3 thousand RF per tick, which is a large amount. So I'm pretty happy with that. It will produce a little bit more when I fill up the rest of the reactor with the manual blocks there. But for right now, it's going to work out pretty fine. So I'm actually going to turn this thing off because it's not connected to anything. And what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to go back to my main area and grab the things that I need to actually complete this build, such as some stone to make it look prettier. I need a locking track, and yeah, I think that's just about it. But I think I can go ahead and do that after I wrap this episode, because it's mainly aesthetics, and you know how the locking track works. I showed you earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this on his merry way, and I'm going to call this good. So anyways, in today's episode, I built a reactor in the basement of this building here. This will power for right now. It will power my main base in the future, but for right now it's not powering anything. I also built this little train system to get items over to this area. In the future it will be used to bring ores over here as well, as I'm going to use this area for ore processing. But for right now it just is to get the refined uranium over here to power the reactor. So anyways, if you enjoyed today's episode, definitely give it a like. If you enjoy watching automation in modded Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.